Eyup Cock, and welcome back to the channel. We're going to go through every championship team's season so far and rank them as you can see on the screen. We're going from straight ass to ass, expected alright, top at pops to unreal. And first up, we have got Birmingham. Let's just put them in here first. So we'll bring them onto screen and then talk about them. Birmingham, to be honest, they are currently 11th in division at the time of me recording this. I expect more from them, mainly because I know what they can do. And I feel like this is a thing anyway, that subconsciously you are harsher on things and players and teams that you know are better than what they're showing. And I think Birmingham should be, realistically, I think Birmingham should be third at least. By the time that everything's said and done, and fat lady screaming her tits off, I think Birmingham should be one of the very, very best teams in this division. They come up as league title winners in League One, but not only that, as League One points record holders, and not only that, EFL points record holders. Now, who's even got close to the standard that Birmingham set last season in any division in EFL ever. So for him to have come up with all that, backing him up as well, spending loads of money, bringing in players like Doyle and Gray and Kyogo and this Phil Newman fella and Duck up front, they've got some ballers, man. I expect a lot more from Birmingham than what they're currently showing. So to be honest, so far I'm going to say that they're doing ass. They're in 11th. I expect them to be showing a lot more than they are doing. Now, once this is done, once it's all said and done, and taking my own personal opinion on what Birmingham should be doing out of this, I think if they do finish top 6, it'd probably be like, yeah, I still think like promotion is what is going to have to get you up in and around here for me personally. But Birmingham so far this season for me have been ass in terms of what I expect from them. Next up, this is quite a funky one to be honest. We're looking at Blackburn, who club stature and all that. You've got to take that out of it. I feel like people are quite mixed on Blackburn anyway because their attendances are shy. So the stature and the things that they've won don't really match their attendance and their wages and revenue. Normally, bigger team, more attendance, more money. Blackburn are quite unique in that they're not that. Currently sat in 19th. They've got a game in hand, which if it had gone for full 19, they'd have got the 3 points against Ipswich, which were called off. Then they would have been flying up table a little bit. But they're still in and around a clump of teams that are going to be looking over the shoulder. I think that, to be honest, for Blackburn, keeps him here for now, which is crazy, really, because a lot of Blackburn fans, to be fair, I think are quite split on Ismail, and some of them don't like him. I think he's doing quite a good job so far to have him 19th, and well, at minute 6 points clear at bottom 3, we're getting in hand. I think he's outstanding for what Ismail's doing and the job that he's got. Do I think he's getting the best out of that team? Not completely, to be honest, not completely, not 100%, but that's why I'm not going him up here. But I think that squad is awful, barring the odd couple bits of quality. They're being shafted from people much further up pyramid and up food chain than Ismail. I think if you want to point fingers and you're a Blackburn fan, you've got to go further up than him. And to be honest, with the tools that he's been given, I think he's doing an alright job, Blackburn, so I'm going to keep him there. Next up, Bristol City. I'm going to also put them in alright as well. It's quite a tough job to come into, I do think, for Struber. Because obviously Manning left after getting into playoffs. You're coming into a team that don't have the infrastructure or the attendances or the revenue or the squad really to get top 6 again in what is a much more level playing field of a division. But I think Struber's a very good manager. He's come in and done quite a good job. They are 8th right now, but only 6 points off second. It's quite a tight league anyway, so there's not loads separating these sides. But I think to get into this category, Bristol City would have to be in top 6 again, and at a minute they're not. So I still think they're doing an alright job, but could be doing better realistically. Next up, oh man, Charlton, I am going to put straight into top it pops. I don't think it's an unreal because she'd have to, there's a couple exceptional circumstances that are going to be in this top category. But Charlton, I think, have had almost as good a start as you could possibly have. They've come up as statistically worst side. They come up through League One playoffs. They're playing the exact same style of football, which I think does help, and they've kept the manager in Nathan Jones, which again I think helps. They have spent some money. Like, I think this goes under radar because Birmingham and Wrexham have spent £50 million between them. But Charlton have spent £10 million since they've come up. That is an obscene amount of money for any League One side. I know, obviously, because of Birmingham and Wrexham spending the money, I feel like Charlton got away with that a little bit. But they've adjusted to life so well. They're currently in 9th. They've had a really, really good start. They did lose the last game, though, Charlton, to Wrexham away 1-0. From a stupid pen. But I think they've had a blinding start. Like, incredible to be, realistically, what are we now? Like a third at way through season, almost. Like, more or less a third at way through season. And to be in 9th and 13 points clear at bottom 3. I think that's the main situation you've got to look at with Charlton. They're a third at way through season and the 13 points clear are going down. Now, every Charlton fan possible would have took 4th bottom before the season started. So to have them so far away from any danger and in a conversation to go up again, it's one of the best seasons so far, I think, all context included. What a start for Charlton. Next up, Bristol City. I'm going to put straight into top it pops. I don't think it's an unreal because Come on. Even if you want to say that Coventry were a favourite, which they were, I think I had them second, I believe. I think I had Ipswich Cov top 2 as mine before the season started. Everybody knows or knew that Coventry were going to be a big threat this season. But I don't think anybody thought they'd have the start that they did. 15 games in, 1 loss, 40 goals scored in 15 games. They are 7 points clear of third already. The top of every stat by a mile. Lampard's a fantastic gaffer. I don't think they spent loads and loads of money, really, for what they could do. Which, you know, when they've got the Gyökeres selling money and stuff like that, and they make big sales anyway, Cov. With what's coming up in January, I expect them to just pull away even further because of the money that they could spend. But Coventry have just set benchmark as what could be one of the best championship sides ever, points tally-wise. Because you look at like last season and compare it, Leeds and Burnley didn't have 34 points after 15 games. They weren't even close to that. I think they're like 7-8 points off something like that. Coventry, a side that notoriously starts slow and then picks up as the season goes on, has started lightning. If they do what they have done in previous seasons and pick up really well towards the end of the season, they're just going to win every week. Forever. So I don't think you can look past unreal. They've had one of the best starts in championship history. Next up, Derby. I put them in alright. I think if I'd have filmed this video a couple of weeks ago, I'd be having a completely different view and outlook on Derby. But they have won the last 5 games. By the time of me recording this, they are in 10th place. Again, only 6 points off top 2. A couple of weeks ago, they were looking over the shoulder at relegation. But that's just what this league is at the minute. It's very close. Eustace, they've spent some brass, Derby, to be fair, but you expect them to its size of what they are in attendance and stuff like that. Due to a lot of money at top end at pitch, which I think they're really going to reap rewards for with Morris and Aguiman, look really good forwards. And quite different, quite unique to have 2 big strikers at top end at pitch. I don't think a lot of defenders know how to deal with that really, or how to set up. When a lot of teams play one single man up front and out really wide, Derby just aren't that at the minute, and I really like it, to be fair. I don't think I can put them much higher, just because had the money that they have spent and some teams that are above them. But I think it's an alright start. I thought Derby kick on from last season anyway. I can't remember where I actually had them in my pre-season predictions, but I definitely had them to kick on a little bit from a definitely no relegation battle. Yeah, I think they're doing okay so far. I don't think it deserves to be up here with Charlton. You've got to look at the context surrounding Charlton. A Derby up and around that? No. But I'll tell you someone that is, baby. Hull City. I'll tell you what. I'm struggling, you know. I might put them in unreal. The 5th at time of recording. Let me just let go. The 5th at time of recording this, 25 points, 26 goals scored, which is second highest, only behind Coventry, who are absolute freaks. And more importantly, I'm keeping him on unreal, definitely, actually. I'm definitely keeping him on unreal. They've had a transfer embargo. They've not spent money on a player. And the lads that they brought in, they got Joe Gellart back on loan again from Leeds, who's been outstanding. Ollie McBurnie and a free transfer. They've made some really good players. They've not sold anybody, like the Hughes, for example, from last season, some of the better players. They've kept a lot of the spine of that team. And the players that they've brought in have just really hit ground running. They're scoring loads of goals. They're not like, oh, whoa, me, we're in a transfer embargo. Oh, my God, we can't sign any players. Let's just sit up shop and try and hit teams up counter-attack. No, all have just gone complete opposite way. Proper gung-ho, shove as many men forward as we can. Yeah, we're going to concede a few because of the nature of the beast, because of how they play and how they set up. You expect all to concede goals. But to have them 5th after 15 games, 25 points, that is bob on that. And the amount of goals that they're scoring, and more importantly, how exciting they are to watch. They're a great side. I'm proper rooting for all this season. But this is a side that everybody, more or less everybody, had going down. If not, like, bottom 5 at highest if you're staying up. But for him to be 5th in the playoff picture so far, an outstanding job that gaffer is doing. And really, really good transfer window and all, to be fair. Unreal start for the Tigers. You're getting mauled. Next up, Ipswich. There's not a lot that I can put in expected categories so far. I'll put him in ass. Same reason as Birmingham. Ipswich is 7th at minute. Oh, yeah. No, because I can't put them in expected, can I? Because it's not expected what Ipswich are doing so far. They're in 7th. Everybody thought they'd be top 2. Everybody thought they'd run away with league, realistically. With squad size, squad quality, keeping the manager, weak league generally. There's not a Leeds or a Burnley, or they weren't coming into this. You're looking at Coventry as one that could be like that now. But everybody expects a lot more from Ipswich, and I can't now start rewriting history and say, well, they were expected that they'd be 7th after this many games. Because it's not. I think they've been asked so far. I do think they'll go up. But so far, at the time of recording this, the 12th of November, they've been crap so far, points-wise, from what you expect. So I'm keeping them there. Oh, man, Leicester, same boat. There's a few that's just in this sort of combo, isn't there? A lot of your bigger sides, because when you look at the table itself, and you say Stoke, Preston, Hull and Millwall are in playoffs, you're thinking, well, we're at favourites. You know what I mean? Because you've got Middlesbrough in second and all, and nobody really took them that serious. So where are Birmingham, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, Sheffield? Where are these sides? They're all ass. That's what they are. They don't deserve to go in the straight ass because, again, they're only 12, 4 points off playoffs. It's not end at world, but I just do expect a lot more from a Leicester team with the quality that they've got in a lot of them positions. I do worry from a little bit across a full season because I just don't think the play warrants getting more points than they're on a minute. It's not like they're not getting wins, but you can see something coming, like Ipswich, for example, or Southampton, I guess you could say, more recently. Leicester are getting the points that they're probably getting more points than they deserve, if anything, because a lot of the goals are from edge at box. There's not a lot of clear-cut chances being made, and ultimately they're just a boring shite side to watch. So, ass for me. Next up, Middlesbrough. I'm going to put them top at pops. Now, I think I had Middlesbrough about 12th, 13th, somewhere like that, mid-table. I didn't think there'd be anything this season, Middlesbrough, because I weren't very keen on Rob Edwards before. I'm still not very keen on him now afterwards. I think it's good for everybody involved. I've spoken to this a couple of times in a couple of different places. But I think it's good for all involved that Rob Edwards goes to Wolves. Because he's going to get more money. For a start, from the Rob Edwards perspective, he's going to get more money. So you can't even blame him. It's going to like double his wages. You can't lose going into Wolves at the minute because they know they're going down anyway. So if you go down, you've not exactly failed. With points telling that they're on an ass shit, Wolves are. Middlesbrough get £4 million compensation. I'll tell you what, the only losers are Wolves. Middlesbrough are going to get £4 million compensation or multi-millions if that's not the right fee. And Middlesbrough can go and get a better manager probably for free than what they've just had taken off them. I don't rate Rob Edwards. I think Middlesbrough have had a good start, but recently it's definitely dried up and they only had one win in the last 5 games that Rob Edwards took over. Obviously, Adi Viviash took charge of the win against Birmingham at home. I thought they'd lose that because I thought Rob Edwards was going to be in charge. I just don't think he's as good a manager as everything's sort of being made out to be. They're okay, but I don't think they will maintain the position that they're in if Rob Edwards are there for a full season. That being said, I do think they're in a very good position because I didn't rate Rob Edwards that much and I didn't rate Middlesbrough's chances, hence we put them in mid-table. But they've had a really good start. They're in second for a reason. They're obviously a good side, but I really don't think it's a big deal losing Rob Edwards. If anything, I'd be punching air if I were a Middlesbrough fan. Yes, millions in compensation and we can get a better manager that's going to have us in good stead for a full season. Bob on. I think Middlesbrough have had a blinder of a season so far. Really good. Top it, pops. Come on, mate. Come on. Millwall, all right for me. I thought they'd be in top 6 anyway, so I guess you could say, well, put them in expected. But the manner of which they are playing in some of the games, I think Millwall have gone further than just being defensively solid, good on set pieces, scrappy, den, bastard. Do you know what I mean? I think Millwall have evolved a little bit, and they're showing more, and that they can play if they need to, and that's what I'm more getting at here with the all-right point instead of me just sticking them in there. Because I expect top 6. I think they're good enough for top 6, and they are 6th. So I guess you could say that you put them there, but I think for the general consensus of people, just that aren't me, just because I think they'll get top 6, don't mean it's a sweeping statement. I think Millwall are doing all right so far, and I'll keep in there. Mill. Right, here we go. First contender for straight ass is Norwich, and it can't be argued at all. Liam Manning's been sacked, so I guess they've got one thing right. But 15 games in, to only have 2 wins is crazy. But to be 23rd with 9 points and only above a team that is on a minus, wow. They have gone about this the wrongest way possible, I think, Norwich. I think the transfer window has gone under radar a little bit for the money side of things. They have brought some decent players in, but I don't really think they've ever replaced Borja Sanz, who I didn't even rate. Apart from that purple patch that he had, I didn't even rate him that much. I don't think they've replaced Nunes, who ended up going to Ipswich. And ultimately, the millions of pounds in green just off transfer sales. Like, yes, I think they spent 20 odd million quid, but they've brought in about 30. They get one of the highest attendances in division. The revenue's insane. You expect to spend loads of money. You shouldn't be relying on player sales to spend money. Someone like Norwich. And to be in green, to make a profit this day and age is crazy. If you're a championship side and you're making profit, you are probably being sent to cleaners by your owners. And I don't know if Norwich are making a profit, but the fact that the multi-millions in green just from sales, they've got to be close. And I think every football club is losing money consistently. That if your owners are the only ones really that's trying to go, well, we're trying to be sustainable. And you end up seeing teams like this that were championship sides sat in League One. Barnsley, Plymouth, Blackburn a little bit next. Typically sides that should be in and around this conversation. Or just on this list at least. And now sat in League One and Blackburn a little bit next to it. Because their owners are like, yeah, but there's a lot of money being lost. You know what you get into when you buy a football club. I don't know what issue is with Norwich. It's not like it's just overnight become a thing where football clubs are losing millions. Why do you suddenly think that you can be the one that's sustainable and get promoted? Because if Norwich go about this business for any longer, they'll be sat in League One with us. Absolutely onking shit. so far from them this season. Horrendous. But at least they sat Manning, and they should. I mean, it can't get worse, can it, really, for Norwich? Next up, Oxford. You know what? I'm going to put Oxford and Portsmouth both in here together. They're currently 21st and 20th. Definite relegation battle contenders. I guess I might put Portsmouth there for my own views. In fact, I'm going to put Portsmouth there for my own view. Because they spent a decent bit of money in summer. They kept Bishop and Murphy. They brought someone like Chaplin in. I thought they should kick on from... what did they finish last season? About 18th? They pulled away from it at end, didn't they? A little bit with a couple of games spared. They were safe. But Pompey should have kicked on and not be in this conversation again. But I know everybody's in the same boat. Everybody sort of thinks, well, we've kicked on. And then team above you's kicked on. And team above you's kicked on. Everybody's kicking on forever. So somebody's got to kick backwards. Somebody's got to fall over. Newsflash, guys. 3 teams are going to get relegated, and not everybody can kick on further than the other fellas that are kicking a bit longer than you are. And I point the blame at Mousinho, personally, because there's no excuse to not be getting more points or scoring more goals, definitely, than that Portsmouth side is. They've got 12 goals in 15 games. It's second lowest, joint with Wednesday. Only Sheffield United have scored less than them, and they've scored the same amount of goals as Sheffield Wednesday. They've got a bunch of children running around, and the rest of the squad's wank anyway. So I expect a lot more from Portsmouth, and you could say that they've been ass. Oxford, I think, are more expected, really. Not spent loads and loads of money. They did a big squad overhaul last season when they first come up anyway. So it was just about bringing in right players, right bit of quality in certain positions. There's not a lot to say. On a side that's expected to be there, what do you want me to say, realistically? The 21st, I think they'll be in a relegation battle anyway. I think they'll be anywhere from 23rd to 18th. There's like a 6th place roulette wheel that Oxford could finish on, and I honestly think it's anyone's guess which of them positions they're finishing, but it's more or less what everybody would expect from them. Next up, I am going to take Preston and put them again at top pops. Financially, a little bit battered, and it's expected, really, when you look at like average attendance and revenue and stuff like that. Preston cannot chat to Middlesbrough or Charlton or Derby or Birmingham, Ipswich, Leicester, all these sides. Preston cannot get near them financially. They've barely spent a dime in summer. They've had a full squad overhaul. Eke's done a fantastic job to bring in and identify players that he wants in different positions and to build a proper squad with squad depth in more or less every position. They're fine if someone gets injured or suspended or something like that. I think Preston have built the squad really, really well on a really tight budget, and to be 4th doing it is, again, about as good as you can possibly get. There's only 3 teams that I would have in this category anyway, and I can't have Preston in there because Coventry are best team by miles and in front by some margin. All have got a transfer embargo. I know Preston have basically made a self-imposed transfer embargo, but Hull actually don't have the choice and could have been really pressured to sell players if they needed to. And they're in playoffs as well. I think Preston have done an absolutely fantastic job so far. Really, really good. But I can't have them in here with other side that I'm going to have as well, which we're going to get to fairly soon. QPR, I would probably say, are expected. Maybe a little bit of a dark horse for top 6, but it's one of them ones, QPR. They're one of them teams that's going to be anywhere between like 10th and 18th. And I think you could probably say Derby a bit same as well. And that's what I sort of expected of Portsmouth, which is why I've got them a bit further down. QPR have made some really good signings, but they did lose Cifuentes towards real back end of last season as well. I'm not overly convinced on this gaffer so far. I think he's pissing about with it a little bit too much. But it's about what you'd expect for QPR so far. Oh God, Sheffield United. Probably, well, the second easiest. Apart from Norwich, this is the second easiest one to put on here. Because Sheffield United's season so far has been absolutely god-awful. 22nd in the division, 3 wins all season, 10 points, and the lowest goal scored. Now, they've brought Wilder back in, and I'm just going to say it once more just to really ram it home. I was told that as soon as Wilder comes in, it's immediate top 6 playoff push. Now, a lot of Sheffield United fans are split. The ones that I know are either saying that they're going to go down or going to go up, and there's not really much running in between. I think we're probably leaning that way, if anything. But it just goes to show how much owners can mess a club up in such a short space of time. Because they should have never sacked a bloke that got 92 points from last season anyway. And then when they brought Ruben Sellers in, it were like he was devil himself. Like he'd walk straight into Wilder's office, tore everything down, put poster him set up. Which I don't think is true, and I think it's being proven now that it's not true. Because even Wilder, who's hand sculpted for this job, is not getting a tune out of them same players. Obviously, Ruben Sellers were not right for Sheffield United, but I almost think that no one's right for Sheffield United at the minute, where how that squad has been built and the money that they've spent, really, because they did spend a little bit of brass in summer again, the money that they have spent has been on, like, for the most part, shite. They're 22nd for a reason. They're naff in front of goal. They offer nothing in final third for the most part. I do think they're all right defensively, but when your biggest goal threat is Callum O'Hare, whose biggest goal season ever, you could count on one hand, is quite a scary place to be in. They've got to limp to January and hope that these owners that they've got have got some brass. Or I think Sheffield United could be more bothered than they want to admit. But yeah, they've been absolutely wank and they belong at bottom tier. Okay, next up, the Wendy boys. I think they've had, and this isn't even a joke, I know you're going to think it is straight away. I think Wednesday have had one of the best seasons that they have had in decades. Honestly, since they got relegated from Premier League 700 years ago, I think this is Wednesday's best season, really, all context included, because they finally got rid of that nutter. Everybody knew they were down before a ball was kicked. Everybody knew. The attendances have been shite by their standards. Nobody's been renewing, and you can understand it as well with ownership situation. They're on minus points. They've gone into admin really quick. I honestly thought they were going to be in trouble for a lot longer. And I thought Chansiri would maybe stay for longer than he has done as well. I didn't think he'd ever sell, to be honest. So it was only a matter of time that admin had come in. But I think it's coming 6 months before I thought it were going to do. But how can they be unreal with minus 4 points? And stay in League One straight down barrel. And you're going to get lowest points tally ever. How can they be in unreal? Because they've got rid of that freak. And that's it. There's nothing else that a Wednesday fan would have wanted this season apart from getting rid of him. There's nothing they could have possibly done better than what they have done. They've got worst squad in league by a mile. They're going to get relegated. They're on minus points. They've got rid of order. That's literally the only thing that matters. It's been a very good season for Wednesday. And I, for one, am gutted because I'd have loved them to have gone down anyway and then got all their admin and points, deduction and all that shit next season. Because I'd really like to see them in League 2. What we got left? Southampton, straight ass immediately. The 17th, I'm not bothered that they've been picking up recently since the start will still. I literally don't care. They are 17th. They've won the last 2 games, but they're not scoring enough. They concede too many. The points are crap, to be fair. And yes, you could probably put them in. If you get rid of Portsmouth and you look at them 4 sides there, it's just sides with loads of money and loads of expectation that aren't pulling the weight at minute. And Southampton definitely belong in that sort of clan. But just because they're lowest on 18 points in 15 games, like, you just can't ignore something like that. I do think they'll probably finish top 6 still. And when we come and evaluate this, maybe further on its season or end its season, definitely, I'll probably have them like up and around here, something like that. But for right now, they're one of the worst sides possible for expectation to reality. What else we got? Stoke. Yeah, Stoke are third, 27 points, one at best sides. Best defensive team in league. They've got best keeper in league. Matt Robbins is a fantastic gaffer. They're scoring a lot of goals and all more recently. They create very good chances. I just think everything about them this season is not what we've seen from Stoke since they got relegated. It was just nailed on 16th for year on end. And I think this season they just look a cut above what they have done since they come down. They look really solid. And I don't think it's imposter syndrome seeing them in third. Like, oh my God, dizzy eye, it's nosebleed territory. I think they deserve to be there. They're one of the best teams that I've seen, definitely. Again, it's another one where I don't see them being able to push much further. I don't think anyone's going to touch Coventry, to be fair. But I don't think there's much more that Stoke could do, really, than be where they are right now. If they get to January, again, it's another size with stature of them that you expect to spend some brass attendance-wise and being backed by chuffing Bet365. I donate to Stoke every weekend. But yeah, I think they've had a really good start to the season. It goes without saying when you're third. What we got left? 4 sides. Swansea are currently 18th. I'm going to put that in ass. They have sacked Sheehan. And it's a good job and all, because the football that they play points towards relegation. Seriously. They are so crap. The keeper's one of the best players. They create no from open play. They don't have many shots. They're just awful. In every sense of the word, Swansea are an awful football team. Obviously, they've sacked Sheehan now. They've got a decent squad, to be fair. Transfer window, they brought in some very good players like Galbraith and Cameron Burgess, some of these lads. They've spaffed a load of money on shite up front, but other than that, I expect more from Swansea, and they've been crap so far. Ooh, Watford. Oh, this is dodgy. I'm going to put them in expected in the wide range of this. I had them going down before season started, and I'm not going to hide it. I had them going down because the owners are nutter, and in what was obviously going to be a very strong league and a very level league, I think, apart from Wednesday and Coventry, everything else is very even. I think there's no humongous standouts at either end, and I think it'll be like that all the way through to May. But Watford have won. My logic was, the owner's a nutter. He'll probably sack the manager at wrong time. He'll probably sack next manager after that. So it's like, it's so many new players from foreign leagues coming into a team that's going to adjust systems and tactics probably 4 times in a year. You expect someone like that to probably get caught up with. They've done all right. Since Garcia's come in, they've done all right. They are in 15th. They're 10 points off bottom for 8. Only 5 points off playoffs so far. And that's in 15th, like I said. So it's a very tough league and a very even one. But Watford, I think, just middle at road. is what a lot of people would probably say for him. You've got one of the best players in the league in Loser. You've got this Georgian fella coming back. They could kick on, and I could be having a completely different conversation next time I do this. But for right now, I think it's just more or less what everybody, apart from me, had expected to offer. And then last two, we've got Baggies and Wrexham. West Brom, I'm going to put in, you know what, I'm putting them in straight ass. I expect so much more from West Brom. They've actually spent some money this season. For the first time in a while, since they've come down financial side of things, they've been getting a lot of free agents, loans, not spending big transfer fees. They've spent some big transfer fees this season. Obviously, they've sold like Fellows and Hegem. So they've sold some players for a lot of money. But West Brom should be a lot higher in this division than they are. 14th and 14 goals scored. My full problem with this points towards Mason. The full thing. If you didn't have him, honestly, you could have Ismail back, and I think you'd just be up here, and probably a lot closer to top 6 than you are doing. I think you could have me in charge and be closer. Mason's not a football manager. No way. He should stick to putting cones out, because you've got Madge on bench anyway. You're a new manager. You've not got some, like, incredible system that you've worked on and perfected over years and years. You've just come in your first job as a proper manager in men's football, and you are immediately saying, no, this is my style. I will not play one of the top goal scorers from the Championship last season. He will go on the bench because I don't want to play two strikers up front. And then you look at someone like Derby and Eustace, who haven't played two strikers up front. Unless I'm wrong, I do not remember Eustace at any of his previous clubs playing two up front. He's gone into this saying, I've got Morris and Aguiman here. I've got two serious forwards. I'm going to make something work with them both. West Brom have got Hegebo and Madger, and he isn't doing the same thing. If you had a proper manager, West Brom, I think you'd be so much closer to top 6 than you are doing. And all my problems just point towards him. I think he's a shite manager. The football's awful. They create next to nothing West Brom for the most part. It's wank from what you expect from this team. And then, finally, they're 13th now, you little dogs. If I'd done this a couple of weeks ago, Wrexham I put in expected, but ultimately, my own opinion here, I'm just going to generalise with some of these. My own opinion, I think Wrexham have been crap from what I expect. But I think a lot of people don't see it as much as I do in terms of like spending 30 million quid when you come up from League One is just, it's obscene. No one's ever done that ever or even got close to that in history. So for Wrexham to come up and spend £30 million, if anybody truly thinks that their realistic aim is mid-table, you have got your head in the sand, brother man. I bet, I'm willing to put money on that their bonuses start at top 8, maybe. I don't think they'll be getting any bonuses than players if they don't finish in top half at the very least. That squad should be top 6, and if it doesn't, it's a failure. But as of right now, they're in 13th. They've been playing a little bit better as it's gone on. They've not lost in 5 games. It's a tough league, yes, but when you come up and spend that much money, I expect a lot more personally. But just on the broader perspective, I think a lot would have been expected. But this is my YouTube channel, so I'm going to put them in straight ass because they should be doing a lot more than they are doing. And that's that. Just a little blitzer. Thank you very much for watching. Kiss. Make sure you like, subscribe if you do enjoy. Thank you as always, and I will see you in a bit. Goodbye.
I say I'm a man, yes I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.